Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm gonna show you guys how to make this granny square skirt. It's very long. You can make this in a shorter version, but I made mine in the long version. And as you can see here, I chose colors that I thought would go together, and I think it turns out to be really nice. Yeah, you can absolutely use whatever colors that you want, especially with the granny stitch. It's probably good to do a multiple colors. You can do one color if you want, but I think it looks better if you do at least 2 or 3 colors. But you can definitely do more than that as well if you want to. Your squares here could be made out of different colors if you want to. Okay, but this is what we're gonna be working on. I'm gonna go ahead and bring all the materials in, and I'll show you what to do to get it started. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, my lovelies, before we get started, I'm going to show you guys all the materials that I'm using for this project. And we're going to start off with the yarn. So these are the colors that I'm using. You can absolutely substitute these colors for any colors of your choice. You can also just go with one solid color if that is your preference. So I'm just going to show you exactly what I have, but it doesn't mean that you'd need to do the exact same, okay? Now, for this yarn here, I have 2 that are from Azurite. This is a brand that I've been using for the last couple of years now. This one here is Azurite by Timid. It's 100% acrylic. It's a lightweight or lightweight number 3, I think. Yeah, it's a lightweight number 3. This is 50 grams or 140, give and take, meters. Recommended hook size is 3.5 to 4 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, so for colors, they go by color number. So this here, I call it off-white or kind of like almost cream, but their color number is 0211. So this is the exact same it comes from the exact same company, except this one is, I guess, like a by Timid. I'm not sure. I guess it's just something done by a little bit of a different subgroup or something like that, but it's exactly the same except for the color number. It's 3057 for this, which I will call it, I guess, kind of like beige and things like that. And then I have my hobby yarn. So I've had this yarn. I got a whole bunch of stocked up on hobby yarn a while ago, so I have a ton of it. So I often use these together with this from Azurite because they're the same size, they're the same texture, everything is the same. Okay, so it is also 100% acrylic, and it is 50 grams for these, or 150 give and take meters. For recommended hook size for the hobby one, they recommend a 4 to 5 millimeter crochet hook. This is 3.5 to 4, so I'm not sure why, but I often end up using the same hook anyways for the both. And obviously, as you can see, this is green, and hobby also goes with just color number, and this is color number 6. Okay, so that is all about the yarn. I will put how much yarn I ended up using in the description box below, just so you know how much yarn to get if you're trying to do a project like this. I have my scissors here. I have my darning needle, some stitch markers. For a crochet hook, I'm using a 5 millimeter crochet hook. Every time that I do the granny stitch, I prefer to use a hook that is a little bit larger than what is recommended, and my 5 millimeter crochet hook is my go-to always. And then of course I have my tape measure to be able to determine the sizes. Okay, all right, so that's everything that we need to have for this project. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, my lovelies, so I'm gonna start this project here, and the order of colors that I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do my off-white here, and then I'm gonna do the beige and then the light green. So that is how I'm gonna order my colors from the middle to the outside. You can obviously do this in any way that you would like, but just to let you know, that's how I'm doing mine. Okay, so with my off-white color here, we're gonna start the middle. So I'm gonna do a magic circle just like this, and then yarn over, bring it through. And while I'm holding my circle here open, I'm going to chain 2, and this chain 2 here counts as a double crochet. So I'm gonna yarn over, go into the middle of the circle, bring it back, yarn over, go through the first 2 loops, yarn over, go through the remaining 2 loops. So that's my second, and then I'm gonna do a third one. And I'm saying second and third because my chain 2 counts as a double crochet. Then I add 2 more to make it 3. Okay, and then I will chain 1, and then I'll do 3 more double crochets into the circle. So 1, 2, oops, 2 and 3. Okay, and then I'm gonna yarn over, chain 1, yarn over, go into the circle again, and keep in mind I'm bringing my string here along with me, so I didn't leave it at the beginning here where it was. I just bring it along into the circle, so it makes a second string for the circle here. Okay, it makes it a little bit stronger too. Then I'll just do my next set of 3 double crochets. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so that's now 3 sets. So 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do one more, so chain 1 and then complete 3 more double crochets into the circle. Okay, so this is pretty much going to be creating my first row, and it's going to set up for the square that we're going to create for this project. Okay, and now that I have that, as you can see, I have my string here. All I have to do is just pull it, and it closes the circle here. And then I need to create a part here for the corner, because I have 1, 2, 3 corners, and I need to do my 4th one. So I will chain 1 and then do a slip stitch on top of the chain 2 that we started the row with, just like this. Okay, so that's my first row, and I have sections to create my corners all here, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then for the second row, I'm going to do a chain 2, which counts as a double crochet, and every time on this project the chain 2 will count as a double crochet. Then I will yarn over, and in that chain 2 gap, okay, it seems like you have to go backwards to do it, but you just go here and you complete 2 more double crochets into that chain 1 gap, and this makes it so it's 3 with the chain 2. And then I'm going to skip these 3 stitches, which is the 3 double crochets in the chain 1 spot from the previous row. I'm gonna go in there and complete 3 double crochets. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. But because it's a corner, I'm gonna chain 1, and then I will complete 3 more double crochets into that same chain 1 gap. Okay, so this is gonna be my first corner that is completed. Okay, and then I'm gonna move over to the next gap here. So I'm skipping these 3 stitches, and in the chain 1 gap I'm going to complete a corner again. So meaning I go ahead and do my 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and that creates my second corner. Okay, so for those of you who are obviously extremely familiar with this project, you don't even have to watch this part. It's probably just to understand the logic of the project, and then that's all you need to do. But for those of you who are beginners, I just like to explain everything like I'm explaining it to the person who is looking at the video for the first time ever. Okay, so I apologize if I'm over explaining, but it's just the way I like to teach. Okay, so this is my third corner here that I'm completing, meaning 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets into the same chain 1 gap. Okay, so as you can see, we have this corner, this corner, this corner, and my 4th corner is gonna be finishing it in the 3 double crochets we did previously. So I'm just gonna jump right into that gap here and do 3 double crochets, because we started with 3. Those 3 are part of this corner here. Okay, and then now that is done, I'm going to chain 1 and then slip stitch on top of the chain 2 here to complete this row. Okay, so now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 corners. That's my second row. And so I'm going to explain a little bit about what you're doing here and how you determine how many rows you do for each color. For me personally, so this is a skirt that is going to be long. So the first thing that I did was I measure the widest part of my hips. Keep going back to the wrong side of the measuring tape. So I just use my measuring tape here. I go by inches, and I just loop this around the widest part of my hips like this, and then and that gives me 40. So the widest part of my hips is 40 inches. So it takes me all the way here. Okay, and then so this is how wide the widest part of my hips is, and this is without stretching the material. So you have this. If you want it a little bit looser, then you will need to increase by adding a couple of more inches, but in majority, just this is good for me like this. And then so what I need is, we need 2 panels for the front and 2 panels for the back. So what I do is I need to do 2 squares in the front and 2 squares in the back, and that is just for the width alone. Okay, for the around the circumference alone. So then what I do is I take the measuring tape and I need to get 20 inches for the front half. So, and then I divide this by 2 and it gives me 10. So my first granny square is I'm going to make sure it comes up to about 10 inches. And then that way I have one on my right side, and then I have the second on my left side. And that's gonna be the front part, and then I repeat the exact same thing in the back. Okay, so that is for the circumference. For the length, I just put this how high I want it, and I drop it all the way to however far I want it to go. So I'm gonna do mine all the way to my my ankles. So I'm just gonna do squares that take me to that, and based on the measurement, I'm gonna need 4 squares as well. That will take me down to the bottom, and that's gonna leave me enough room to do a band on top for the skirt. Okay, so so with these then I'm gonna do a square that's gonna give me 10 inches, and so I will do 4 rows of each of the 3 colors. So in the off-white, I will do 4 rows. I will change it to the beige, do 4 rows, and then I will finish it off with 4 rows of the green. Okay, all right, so with that said, we're gonna go ahead and start the next row, which is doing chain 2, and then yarn over and complete 2 more double crochets here, so that you have your 3 double crochets. And then into this gap is not a chain 1 or anything like that. It's just a gap created from us skipping the previous 3 rows here. So we're just gonna go into that gap and complete 3 double crochets. And since it's not a corner, we don't do anything that will create a corner. We just do 3 double crochets and we move on to the next. And then here is a corner now, so I'm gonna skip these 3 double crochets, and into the chain 1 gap here, I'm gonna go ahead and complete a corner, which is 3 double crochets, chain 1, and then 3 more double crochets into the same gap. Okay, so very simple. If you're a beginner, you just have to understand how to do a granny square once, and then you're good, especially with the granny stitch, and then you're good. And then you go into the next gap and you do 3 double crochets, and since it's not a corner, you just go ahead and move. After 3, you just move on to the next spot, which is a corner, and you create your corner. Okay, so a very simple thing to do here. I'm gonna show you guys how to do it with the white. I will change the color to the beige, and then I will have you guys pretty much finish the square on your own. I will come back to show how mine looks like when it's finished, and then I will talk about how many squares I need to do. You may have a different number of squares to do because of being different sizes, and that's it. So, and also my size is often between small to medium. It's between small and medium. So for those of you who ask what size I'm making and how many stitches or rows or whatever to do for a different size, I don't teach like that. I teach by asking you guys to just measure, and then you work your project and until you get that those measurements that you have gotten. Okay, so that way it's easier. That way I don't have to say, oh, you must do this many rows for it to be for a medium, for a large, for a small, and then you end up either using a completely different type of yarn or just using a different hook size. There's so many things that can change those numbers. So I don't like to go by that, just so you guys can, you know, make sure you get accurate sizing just by measuring, as opposed to, you know, number of rows and stitches and all of that kind of stuff. So I have done my chain 1, so I'm going to slip stitch on top of the chain 2 from the previous row to complete this row, and that's the end of my 3rd row. Okay, that's how it looks like, and we have 1 more row to do. I chain 2, and then I go and complete 2 more double crochets into that chain 1 spot, and then move on. And as you can see, for the 4th row, you do 3 double crochets here, 3 double crochets here, and then it's a corner, and this is going to increase by 1 every time you do another row. Okay, so for the 2nd row we had 1. Now for the 3rd row, for the 3rd row we had 1. For this row we have 2, and then for the next row you're gonna have 3, just something like that. Okay, all right, so I'm not gonna show you guys how to complete this whole thing on camera here, because you just repeat what we did in the previous row. which is just do what you need to do for the non corner, which is just 3 double crochets, and then for the corner you do 3 double crochets, chain 1, 3 double crochets, and then you move on and do the rest of it. So I'll see you guys when you get back here, which is going to be our 4th row, which is going to be the number of rows we want for this color before we change to the next one. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my 4th row here of the off-white, and all I need to do is just do a chain 1 and then go ahead and slip stitch on top of the chain 2. Now, as you can see, I don't actually complete my slip stitch because we're going to change the color. So I will need to cut these off just like that. Okay. And then what I will do is bring in my beige color. And the way I do that is I'm just going to show you quickly how to change color. But of course, go ahead and change the color however you prefer. So if you do it in a different way, please go ahead and do that. I'm just going to show you quickly how I do it. Okay, so I have my beige color here. I want it on my finger just like I like to do. And then I will come back here so you can see that I have this string I just cut. I'm going to move that to my right hand side like this so I can hold it in place. And then I bring my yarn. I just hold it like this, and then I just yarn over from my finger and I pull it through. Okay, and then I just wiggle with the 2 colors a little bit to make it so that it's nice and tight here. And then I move both of them to my right hand side so I can hold them here. Okay, and then I will go ahead and start my row by doing a chain of 2, and keep in mind this chain of 2 counts as a double crochet. And then I will go ahead and complete 2 more double crochets into the chain 1 spot here like that to make it 3. And then I will go ahead and continue my row. So I can now let go of this. I just needed to hold it so I don't pull it while I'm working on my stitches. But now that we have passed it, I don't have to hold it anymore. And then I just go ahead and continue doing my rows of in this color. I'm gonna do 4 more in these colors before I change and bring it around to the green one and do 4 more colors of that, because I'm aiming for my 10 inches. It could be give and take less or more. That's not a problem at all for me. So if I get a little bit more, I am okay with it as well. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and have you guys work on this part of it, because I don't have too much to explain besides literally just repeating this for 4 rows and then changing the color just like we did here to the green, and then doing 4 more rows with that. Okay, so very simple. So go ahead and complete I guess 12 rows altogether, because you have 4 here, you have 4 in the beige, and then you will do 4 in the green. When you have completed all of them, come back to the video and then we'll move on to the next step together. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I've gone ahead and completed my first square here. So as you can see, this is pretty much how it looks. I have my 4 rows in the off-white, 4 in the beige, and then 4 in the lime green. And so I'm going to end these here. And depending on the size that you want for each of your squares, you will obviously make sure you measure as you go so you can see how many inches. So for mine, it's exactly 10 inches, which is what I want. And so I'm gonna go ahead and just end it here. So I've already done my 3 double crochets, and then I've done my chain 1. So I'm gonna go ahead now and just do my slip stitch here so I can end the row like that. I'm gonna grab my scissors and I'm gonna cut it somewhere here, and then I'm gonna do a chain 1 and pull just to lock in this section here, just like that. Okay, all right, so this is pretty much it here. So this is 1 square done, and honestly all you have to do is now just repeat this until you have the number of squares that you need to make your full skirt, full long skirt. Okay, so as you can see, I have this completed. We have the other side here that is gonna be the inside of our skirt, and this is gonna be the outside of our skirt, which is nice and neat. So I've already done my math. I'm gonna need to do 8, so 4 of each side of my front. So on the right hand side of my front, I will do 4 of these so that it's long enough to go all the way down, and then the same on the right, and then exactly the same on the back left, the back right. Okay, so altogether I need 16 pieces like this. This is my first. I have a long way to go because I need to create 15 more squares, and then when I have all 16, then we will go ahead and do the joining, and we will just join like 4 pieces, 4 pieces, 4 pieces, like 4 times, and then we'll join all of them together. But for now, I'm gonna go ahead and create the other 15, and then when I finish, I will come back so I can show you guys how to do the joining. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovely, so I've gone ahead and completed my 16 squares here. So as you can see, I have a ton of my squares that are completed. I have 16, so let me just double check. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yeah, so I have my 16 squares here. I would have probably cried if I needed to do one more. I mean, it's fun to do this, but because you're repeating the same thing for that amount of time, it does feel a little bit it can be a little bit boring. But I have all my 16 squares here. I worked myself all night so I could get them done to continue the video. So yeah, that's it here. So we're gonna go ahead and place them on the side, and then we'll start to join them. Okay, so I just need to take 2 at a time because we're joining, or I mean, for the first one I will take 2, and then I will show you guys how to join, and then we just add a third and the fourth, and then we do that for the next set 4 times, and then we will join them the long way when we have that done. So the other thing that I like to do here is I like to place them so that this is gonna be this side here that is neat, it's gonna be the outside of our skirt, and this side that doesn't, as you can see, looks a little bit different, we're gonna make this the outside of the inside of our skirt. Okay, so to do that, I'm gonna pretty much place them, let's place them down like this, and then we place this one like this, and then we're going to join this here, and then a third one we're going to join the exact, so we do the same thing here. The good side is facing down, and we add the third, and then we add the fourth. Okay, but obviously for this here I'm going to show you guys how to just do one first, and then the other pieces you guys can just join until you have everything joined. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab my, so I'm going to join using the green, just because it's gonna blend better. If you want to join it using different color, it's absolutely up to you, but I'm gonna use the green one to join. So I'm gonna take my darning needle here, I'm gonna insert my yarn, and then I'm just gonna make it as long as I can so that I can use it to join multiple pieces before. So I'm gonna cut it here. Okay, so I have a long one here, I'll probably use to join quite a few of them. Okay, and then now that I have that, I'm gonna place it there. I'm gonna line these up to make sure I have it nicely lined up equally, and keep in mind we're gonna start from the corner here, so the chain 1 spot that we have, and we're gonna make sure we work ourselves over to the other corner, which is the chain 1 spot. Okay, so from here I take my darning needle, and I'm just gonna insert it just right on top of that chain 1 spot like that, and then I'll grab the same on the other side, just the chain 1 spot on the other side like this. Then I'm gonna pull just like this, and then what I do here is I just do a couple of nods so that it doesn't pull off, because you don't want it to pull off while you're still working with it. So I'm just gonna do 2 nods here like this, and then that's now secure. And then I will move on to the next stitch here and just grab the 2 loops like this, and then I'm gonna pull. If you have a better way of doing your joining, please go ahead and do that. Some people do it with a slip stitch, some people do it, you know, there's different ways people do it. For this here, I'm gonna go twice, just because I want to be able to make this here strong. So I'm gonna go into it twice, just like that. And then this is going to pretty much line up perfectly, because we have the same number of stitches for each of the sides of the square here. So you should be able to just line them up and just join them, and you're grabbing both loops like this of each of the sides. So you grab both loops on this side as well as on the opposite side. And when you pull, please do not yank it too much. Don't make it too tight, because it's going to make it wrinkly. You want to make it loose enough that when we finish, we can kind of pull it apart a tiny bit to make it nice and loose, and not too like lumped up or yeah, you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue to do the joining here all the way to the end. Make sure you're keeping your pieces very straight so that you're lining up your stitches properly. When you get to the chain 1 spot on this side, which will be your last spot, come back to the video, and then I will show you how to finish that off. And then we will talk about obviously you joining the rest of them, as will I, and then we will go ahead and proceed with the next step of the video. Okay, I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have joined this part here, as you can see. So if I just flip it like this, the one thing that you will do after you have joined each piece is just kind of play with it a little bit and kind of just make it nice and loose and kind of lace flat like this. But this is going to be how it looks on the outside of the project. And this is the side that we joined it in, so it looks like this on this side. Okay, so if I just go back and refold it like this, so I have this, which is in the final spot here. I'm gonna do it one more time, just like this, and I'm gonna actually loop the yarn around, and that kind of simulates like when you do a slip knot or something like that. Okay, and then that's done. Don't pull it too hard here because you're gonna kind of wrinkle up your stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut it somewhere here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and move up to the next step. So as you can see, this is just one piece like this. We need to add 2 more pieces to go down because this is the length of our skirt like this. So the next thing I'm going to do is bring in the second piece, and I'm going to go ahead and place it just like we did the other one. Oh, I guess like this, like that, and then bring it in like this. Okay, so then I'm going to go ahead and join it here. Then when I finish this, I'm going to do the same with the fourth. I'm going to put this piece on the side. I'm going to repeat this process 3 more times. And then when I have 4 pieces of 4, so 4 long pieces of 4, then I'm going to come back to the video. I'm going to show you guys how to join the long side. And then from that point on, I will let you guys join everything. And then there's another step that we need to do to make sure our skirt looks nice and clean. So yeah, but for now, just join all the pieces until you have 4 long pieces of 4 squares. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, I've gone ahead and joined my pieces here. So my squares are all joined into 4 different panels that are now long instead of just the small pieces here. So I have 1 panel contains 4 of them, and this is gonna be pretty much the length of the skirt. I may have done it a little bit longer, we will see, but it seems like it may be a little bit longer. If I had probably done like 2 rows of the green at the end, maybe that would have been enough, but hey, who knows, maybe it's gonna look just nice the way it is. But I have all 4 of them joined, so you see they're all just 4 long pieces like this. And then now all I have to do is join them on the long side. Okay, so they're all like this. So I will put 2 of them on the side for now, because all I have to do is join the 2. And again, we're going to use the same logic where I'm going to join with the inside part facing out. So in this case here, I have the side that is going to be my outside on one piece facing up, and then on the second piece I'm going to have it facing down, so they're kind of facing each other. And then all I need to do is then just line it up nice and easy, and I'm going to join it all the way down like this. Okay, so I'm going to join it all the way the long side. I'm going to do this and then do the second side, the second 2 pieces. So now we'll have 2 pieces that contains 8 squares each, and then after I do those 2, then I do each side of the 2 sides. I will join the 2 sides that will be open. Okay, so to do that, nothing is different from what we have been doing to join the squares. Again, I just line them up, and this is my middle here. So I just go and grab the middle, and then the middle on the other side, just like that. I will pull. I have my yarn already prepped, and I'm going to continue to join it with the green here, just because it is the color that I want to join it with. And then again, just like I did with the squares, I knot it so that I don't have to lose that as I go. And with this, you just have to make sure you're very straight, especially here in the spot where it's going to meet this section where we join the squares. Make sure you're lining it up properly, and then you're just going to go past. When it comes to this middle section here, I'm probably going to do one right on the opposite side of this stitch, and then in the middle, and then on this side, and then again line up the stitches, and then do that all the way down. Okay, so I'm going to do that with all of them. So at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to join the whole thing. And by the whole thing, I mean join everything until it's just a tube, like a skirt. So it will pretty much be a skirt that you can kind of pull up and wear, except there's a few more things that we will need to do to make sure our skirt is completed. Okay, so go ahead and join all your 4 pieces together, and then after you do your 4 pieces, join them all into one huge tube, and then come back to the video, and then I'll go ahead and do the band with you guys, and then we'll also do a little bit in the bottom so that we can make it look nice. Okay, all right, so I'll let you guys go here, and I'm gonna go ahead and work on joining, and I'll see you guys when everything is completed. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and joined all of my panels here. So as you can see, it is just now down to being just a tube, which is the part of it being a skirt. Okay, so again, as you can see, it is quite big here, especially for this section here, but we're gonna work this so we can bring this a little bit tighter for the waistline, and we're gonna leave the bottom the same way. So I have also flipped it into the side that is the outside, because for the next steps I'm gonna be working on this project on the outside. Okay, so with that said, I'm going to, there's this string that I was left here from me joining it. I'm just gonna attach the this yarn here that I have used previously to it, so that I can continue working with it from there on. Okay, so I'm just gonna knot this here, and then we will go on and continue doing that. So for those of you who are maybe a little bit advanced for the waistline, we are going to be doing the front post, back post, double crochet. It's a chunky project, so to do something chunky is gonna make it work, and so that's what we're gonna be doing. Okay, so let me just add, I'm just putting my yarn here together so we can have it ready to be worked on, and then I will go ahead and explain to you guys what we do there. I wanted to weave in all these ends here that I left, but I thought I would just wait to the end to do all of that. But you can do yours at any point of the project where you could just weave in your ends, and that would be it. But for me, I'm going to do it at the end. Okay, all right, so my work here is ready, my yarn is ready. So what I will do is I will go ahead and get started. I will show you how to start. For this project, we're gonna start with a row of double crochet, but we're gonna also decrease so that we can have it kind of come in a little bit. Okay, so as you can see here, this is a little bit off because the string was already attached like this. So what I do in this case, I often just go in like this and bring it in, and then I do my chain 2, which is to represent my double crochet. Okay, and then I'm going to go in here and in here and complete my double crochets. So that's my second and this, and then because we're decreasing, what I will do is I will just skip this section here altogether and go directly to this section, and that is part of me decreasing the work. Okay, so that is not I'm not doing a stitch in the middle there. Okay, so I do 2 here, and then I go ahead and just jump right into the next stitch. I skip this one here. Okay, so I go ahead and just do these 2. So in other words, every 2 stitches I skip a stitch. Every 2 stitches I skip a stitch, and it just happened to be this section in the middle here that I'm skipping. Okay, so I just continue to do this, then I go right into here, and I will do this all around my project. So just do these double crochets all around by just doing exactly what I showed you here. Don't do a stitch in the middle of, after 3 stitches here, you don't do a stitch, and you just go ahead and skip over to the other side. And when you think about it, there's actually the places that was not a stitch, because it's just a place that we skipped the 3 double crochets, and then it creates that section by default. Okay, so I'm going to continue to do this all around. When I come back here, I will come back to the video so I can show you guys what to do in the next part of it. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my row of double crochet here. So as you can see, it is beginning to snatch it in a little bit, but we're gonna do, and it's gonna, with the next stitch, it's gonna snatch it in even more. So I am to where we started here, did my last double crochet here, and I'm gonna go ahead and slip stitch on top of this first chain 2, and just like that, we complete this row. Okay, for the second row, I'm gonna do a chain of 2, and this is attached to this, and it counts as a double crochet. It's attached to this stitch here. But I'm gonna go ahead and do a front post into this stitch here like this, and then I'm gonna go ahead and do a back post into the next, and then a front post in the next, a back post in the next. So just alternate this all around until I come back to where we just started off here. Okay, so again, with this stitch, it's gonna help even snatch it more. So even though it looks a little bit wide right now, it's gonna help bring it in even more. And if worst come to worst, what we will do is we will use a drawstring to be able to have our waistline fit properly. Okay, but for now, just go ahead and complete this alternation of double crochet, back post, double crochet, and front post double crochet, and then come back when you reach this section where we just started here, so I can show you how to start the next row, and then we will do a couple of rows like this. Okay, so I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my second row here of the front post, back post double crochet, and now I'm gonna go ahead and just slip stitch on top of this chain 2 that we created, just to bring that in a little bit, and then we will start the next row. Okay, so just close this in like this. Then we start the next row by doing a chain of 2, and then it counts as a double crochet that lines up to this. And then we go ahead, because this is coming towards us, we do a front post double crochet on this one. And then for the next is a back loop, back loop double crochet, and then a post, and then a front post double crochet on this one, and then a back post, and we just alternate these again all around until we come back to the beginning again, until we come back to here. When you get to here, your last stitch will be the front post double crochet. Then you will slip stitch on top of the chain 2, and then just repeat this for as long as you need to repeat it for. So for me, I'm gonna do a couple of inches. I'm gonna aim to have maybe 2 to 3 inches, and then when that's done, I'm gonna stop and I'm gonna go to the bottom. Okay, and you know how we did the first row here of double crochet? I'm just gonna do 1 row of double crochet in the bottom, but without skipping these gaps here. You know how we skip these gaps to reduce, to be able to kind of decrease in the top part. In the bottom, I will go through this section as well, so it doesn't decrease in the bottom. And just 1 row to make it neater, just to make it nicer. And then I will create a strap, because I can already tell it's gonna be a little bit loose on my waist. Okay, so I'll create a strap that I will use to kind of help keep my skirt up. Okay, you will have to try your skirt before you create the strap. If you need it, then you make one. If you don't need it, you don't need to make one. And the way I will make the strap is just gonna be doing a long chain, just as long as I need for it to tie around my waist. And then when I come back, I will show you how to put that strap into the band of your skirt, and then how to be able to secure it properly. Okay, so go ahead and complete all of these steps that I've just told you. When you come back with everything finished, with the exception of just putting the strap in, and then I will help you. We will do that together on the video. Okay, what I will do as well as I'm offline, I will go ahead and weave in all of my yarn that is hanging on the inside of the skirt. So please do the same as well, so that when you come back, your skirt looks nice and neat, and we just have to put the strap on. Okay, so I will see you guys when everything is done. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the band of the skirt here. So as you can see, I did about 6 rows, and I think that's enough for the band. And just a quick correction that I did as I was doing the band, I tried it on. I actually completed the band, then tried it on, and I realized it was a little bit oversized for me. So I either messed up with the measurement somewhere, or just didn't realize how loose it was gonna be. So what I did was I just literally undid everything. I removed the band that I had, and then went ahead and undid all the sewing that joins the 16 squares together. And then I removed 2 rows in the green for each square, and just to bring it in a little bit. So instead of having 4 rows of each color here, I ended up doing 2 rows of each of the final color, which is the color green. And that way, when I joined the 2 together, there's actually still 4 rows here everywhere that I joined. Okay, so I ended up doing that just to bring it in a little bit, so that it was not too big. It could have been just okay the way it was, but it was just a little bit too big on me in terms of the looseness of it, and I wanted to kind of snatch in a little bit. So that is the correction that I did. Now, this is not going to affect your work. If you got the measurements that you needed for you, you don't have to make any of these changes. The problem would be if you are my size and you did exactly the number of rows that I did and used the exact same yarn or size of yarn and all of that, then it would create the same problem. Okay, but otherwise I finished everything here. So I did my 6 rows of the band, and then I went ahead and just left the bottom like that. So I only added the 2 extra rows because I did remove 2 rows of each of the green, and so at the end I only had 2 rows of the green in the bottom. So I just went ahead and added 2 more to make it so that it's consistent, and there's 4 rows in the bottom here as well. But beside that, we're gonna leave the bottom like this. I think I like it. If you do want to do something different, you absolutely can, but for me, I'm going to leave it like this. Okay, so I have gone ahead and weaved in all the ends as well on the inside. So I have removed, or some of them are still here, but I've removed majority of the hanging kind of yarn on the inside. So I'm going to show you how to do the band. So I'm going to place it like this. I have already done a chain here that is long enough to fit to come around my waist, and you're just going to do like a long chain. There's nothing else you need to do with this. And then I'll take my darning needle here. I'm gonna use the darning needle to help me put the band through. So I just do it like this. If you have these kind of darning needles, it's very perfect for it because your chain fits here if it is this size of yarn. Okay, if it's bigger, maybe not, but it does fit well. So this is for me the middle of my work here. Okay, so what I will do is I will start putting the band from here. So that way I have these 2 in. Actually, I will maybe even do these 3. So I may go from here to here so that this area here stays unused. So I will do that. So I'll just go into here like this and just kind of alternate it like this. Okay. So I hope you can see that properly. And I'll leave like this. And then I'll just go around. Just like that. And then bring it in, and then just continue going around the band. Okay, and again, as you can see, I'm going through the top of the band, not in the middle or anywhere, because when you pull it tight, you don't want it to kind of hang weird. So on top like this is gonna snatch it in properly. Okay, so go ahead and just continue sewing the band into the top like this. And again, I just did it with the green, but you could have done it with any of these colors. It would go because it's the theme of the colors that we're using. So if you don't have the final color here that you had used to do the borders or the final the top and the bottom, which in this case for me it's green, you can absolutely go with either the other colors that you had used, the other 3 colors that you had used. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and finish putting my band through, and I'll come back when I have reached the end. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have just weaved in my yarn around, or the waist, around the waist like this, and by the yarn I mean the strap here. And I'm just gonna remove this. So as you can see, I just kind of left it right here and right here. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 of these lines. And then from there, we can use this to tie these areas together. So when you have your skirt on, you can use this section to kind of like bring these in, okay? So with that done, what I will do for the hanging little parts of the hanging yarn here, I just do a knot, just like this. I knot it so that it doesn't come apart, and then I just cut it off, okay? So I do these on both sides. Nothing too special, just knotting it so that you don't have it unraveling on you one day. And by the way, the band is not necessary if you think your skirt, or you've tried your skirt on and it just fit perfect without a problem. But I do the strap. Normally, most of the time I do, because you never know if you lose or gain weight. Maybe mostly if you lost weight, you don't want to have your skirt getting a little bit looser on the waist especially. So having this strap, it doesn't hurt if whether it sits on its own or whether you have the strap. It doesn't make a difference, because you can just use, and also you can just remove this strap, keep it somewhere, and whenever you need it one day, if you lost weight, you can always put it back on and then have it like that, okay? But this is pretty much it here. So this is the end of this project. I think this is gonna be something that you will enjoy a lot. I definitely recommend that if you do this, do it with a very thin yarn. For example, this is this yarn here is a medium or lightweight 3, and it can still be bulky, so the skirt itself is a little bit on the bulky side, or especially because of the stitch that we're using. Granny stitch uses a lot of yarn and it makes it very bulky looking. Okay, but absolutely use the type of yarn that you prefer and something that will kind of make it nice and thin. But yeah, that's the only advice that I would give. And again, as you work on your work, nothing is perfect. I'm not perfect, so what I do is I just try it on when I have reached the end, and if I need adjusting, I go ahead and adjust it, and then I talk to you guys about it, just like I did the adjustment of removing a couple of rows here. Okay, all right, so this is pretty much it. You get the idea, the gist of how to make something that looks like this. Go ahead and enjoy yourself, make as many as you want. A lot of people make multiples of things, whether to gift them to people or whether to just have different colors and different styles at home. Go ahead and do that. Okay, but I'm gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching it to the end. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. Just thank you in general for your support on the videos on the channel, because it does help me a lot. So thank you again. Don't forget to do all of that before you take off, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.